Tanya.
Hey, Emery.
We have one of your favorite people on as our guest today on the Left Turn
This is
Living
my
Left
favorite
podcast.
people. I'm so excited. I'm actually a little nervous about this because
Whenever
Mary's
we have someone
on.
from you, you get nervous. I can always
I
tell.
do.
Oh, that's so funny. I love this. I love that
Yes.
your worlds are coming together. I
I
like
Let
know.
I
Mary
know that
Fearon.
I know
we
that
need
I'm
to
a
introduce
person from
Mary
your
Fearon.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'll shut up.
Oh, go ahead. You're a person from the past, the two of you. I get a little bit not jealous, but sort of
Yes.
because I know you have your Betty and Veronica thing, and I don't have a name like that for me and Tanya. I don't know what
Because
it
we're
is.
both Veronicas.
You're both
We're
Veronicas. That's so
we're
funny.
both.
But you get more of the current Tanya. I got a lot
Oh
of like the
yes,
past Tanya. So like
100%.
I have some envy there too
Yes,
because I don't
I
get
know.
enough of
Can
the
we talk about me more in this? You guys keep
today.
going.
Okay, let's introduce Mary.
Okay.
Yes. Are we going to have Mary introduce her? Because I'm like, I will introduce as a little anecdotal story. Because I've shared this on previous podcasts. And then, Mary, you're going to just really introduce yourself in all of the wonderful things that you've done. But I am very excited to have you on this podcast. But I have mentioned you in previous podcasts. So, listeners, if you stay with us, there was a story I have told many times where Mary Fearon, before I decided to take a significant left turn, Mary was presenting to our my previous company's group in the boardroom and talking about happiness. And Mary will explain why she would be doing this herself. But we're in there, and I considered myself a very happy person. And she was presenting the tenets of happiness, blah, blah, blah. One of which is community. And because she's checking the boxes like, are you happy? You're happy if it's you have this, this, this. And it was that aha moment in that boardroom. I can distinctly feel how I felt in that moment when I realized I wasn't as happy as I possibly could be. And it was that was the trajectory for me to rethink. I think I was in around it. Like I give myself some credit, but this is my Mary who like was always there in my head to go, yeah, but maybe. And that is why she was like, we grew up a lot in our previous life. So, Mary, I'm excited for you to be here. Talk about yourself and all of the wonderful things. And then let's get into how we are better people because we met, I think, because I think I did equally good things
Oh
to you
my
too.
gosh. Are you kidding? Totally. So Tanya and I, okay, so first I'm gonna
First,
say
who you
we
are.
okay. So
Mhm.
who am I? Mary Farron.
Yes.
I am the owner, founder of a company called On Purpose that is only 6 years old. And I am, going through all the highs and lows, the try new things, fail, try new things again, like all that stuff, all trying to, which I think is consistent with the journey of life, to get closer and closer and closer to the unique ability or value only we as a team and On Purpose can offer to our clients,
Hmm.
because it's not easy out there to figure all that out, right? So we're on this
That's true.
journey. But my
And
pre
6 years is not only 6 years. 6 years requires a
Yeah,
high
that's
five
true.
too.
I'll take
Anne-Marie,
it.
who always remembers
You know,
statistics and information, will say that 6 years, because I don't
and then
remember that stuff,
the
but I
stat
remember
is
the idea.
most
There are
small
stats.
businesses never make it over five.
Thank you.
Isn't that, yeah, I've heard that too. You
Yeah.
know
It's
what's
true.
funny? Yeah, I've heard that too. And then also, so I've also heard that only 5% of the world is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that, what was the number you just said about only 5 years? How many businesses? Just
I don't know, but most don't. So I don't know.
most don't. The
Very
majority,
hard.
vast
Like
majority.
making it
Yeah.
over five is a massive threshold.
Right. Okay.
And as a female, only
That's the next one.
2%. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No,
Am
I
I
don't know
saying
what
it
you
right?
tell me.
I feel like there's something about a 2% and a 1 million. What's the combo, Emery?
I think it's
Only 2%
only
make it to a
1%
million.
of women
Oh,
make over a million. I
there
think
we
something
go.
like that, and
Something
only
like
Wow.
that.
less than 10% make over 100,000 or something crazy.
Something
Like
like
there's a
that.
very small percent. We'd have to go back to our podcast with Sheila Cummins for the exact data,
Yes,
but
I love it.
she was
but
good.
women have it's because also most women tend to do a solo practice, right? So they're doing
Yep.
something that is not, they're not building something for all of the
Right.
reasons that we know. Um, it's just
Mhm.
harder still in this 2026 for women to start their own businesses, and they have, as you guys know as former colleagues too, like you have reasons, there's levers you can't pull, or you're not able to, or there's constraints. And women have more financing available to them, and women have more opportunity available to them. And also, we're not raised to be courageous in that same way. And so, that 5% of entrepreneurs you just mentioned, I would bet most of those are men.
Yeah. I mean,
high five to you.
Thank you. I participate in this entrepreneur coaching group. And so there's like thousands of them around the world. And I would say it's like lucky if 30% of them are women.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Lucky.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you started your own thing 6 years ago. So applaud. We're applauding.
Thank you. I love it. I am unemployable from that
Yes.
moment on.
Oh,
so
100%.
For most of my career, I was like, I told myself, it's funny as you guys were talking about all the limitations and circumstances around women and their businesses and all of that. I was thinking about the ones that, like, the psychology of being a woman in the world and what it would mean to go out and build your own business. And I still deal with those limiting beliefs. And then it's like, they're so ingrained in you that you don't even know that it's a limitation until one day you look at yourself like, wait a minute, why am I getting in my own way? I've said to my team before, like, my goal is to make sure that I'm not the one ruining this business.
Yes.
Because we have our strengths, and that's probably the stuff that got us here, but there's also these massive blind spots that need attention too. So
and that statement, I think, is what is so unique to you, Mary, because I remember when you're saying, I'm constantly searching, I'm on this journey. And we've talked as friends over wine too. Like, when does the searching stop for you? It doesn't. You are constantly challenging yourself. Your expectation is immense. I think you have probably more grace for others than you do for yourself. But it is what makes you so uniquely special, because you're unpacking that all of the time. Like, any success, I think, may never be enough. I mean, that's an existential question we will have over bottles of wine at some point. But you're just like, you will refine and refine.
It's probably self-actualization.
Oh, it is, because she's so far ahead.
It's not success within a boundary, I would guess. It's about becoming the best person that
it's beautiful to watch, really.
That people can be. And not everybody wants to do that. A lot of people crave a comfort, and that they're just striving to get back into that comfort box. Like, they get up in the morning and they just can't wait to get back to bed, right? Like, where am I back? And that's maybe a metaphor for anyway. But then there's some that are always trying to grow and figure things out. And I would guess that the 3 squares in this call are striving, right? And that doesn't mean you have to. That just means that's how we're made.
Totally. I mean, I find the journey of self-development just fascinating and rewarding. And so I'm so curious. And so you could spend your life in self-discovery and never run out of things to look at, if you turn the lens in, like, you'll never be bored. Right. Now my husband will say, and I've been with my husband for 28 years. And so he's, we've had our own moments of, like, I'm out there taking a course in positive psychology, and then I go to yoga teacher training, and then and then I want to, like, I say to people, I buy books like other people buy milk. Like, if you drop the name of a book right now, Emery, I'd be like, okay, I'd probably be on Amazon ordering it. And, like, there's no way I'm be able to read all this. So my husband says, everybody has
right beside my library right here.
Yeah. So you guys have a lot of similarities.
We should probably go to each other's house.
Yeah, that's right. We could swap books. We could probably do a book share.
Yes.
For all the ones that I can't read at the same time. So my husband would say, we all have a bucket, and in that bucket are all the things that we're interested in and we're doing and all of that. And so I was about to walk the dogs, like, in the winter, because I had my coat on and everything, and I had the leashes in hand. And he just says this to me, and he goes, your bucket is full. And then when someone else says, hey, there's this other thing, you just add it right to the top of the bucket, and there's no leaking out of the bucket. You just keep adding the things to the bucket. And then I sat down, I was like, and he's very careful not to be critical, because this is just who I am. So it's not like he's judging and saying you shouldn't read all the books and do all the things. It's just like, I couldn't, like, it's exhausting. But that was a moment when I was like, you're right. And what cost is some of that to your nervous system, to your, like, there
Sure.
is a cost to it because
Yeah.
it's like a lot of energy. There's a drain. There's also like, you can be so distracted by additional inputs that you're not paying attention to the things that are on your plate that you need to deal with today anyway. So anyway, I was just, so that was its own new epiphany. It was like, oh, now I have to work on that
Yes.
part. Anyway.
Now I need to dig in
Okay,
here.
so this is not a work related question, but this is a like midlife question because
Yes.
this is gonna have to be a long podcast, and I can already tell.
He
So
probably
if
only has
you're
an hour.
so
Yeah, a little bit more.
we have a lot of similarities. So do you find so in this midlife phase, because we all have similar age kids and our kids are
Mhm.
friends too, which is also
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I didn't talk about how I know Mary, but I feel like I know Mary
Oh,
in like
right.
multiple different
Yes.
I
components,
know. That's so fun. Yeah.
like all weird other components. But so a lot of women find themselves in this age and stage in their career or in their personal life where they're trying to find new things to pursue and they're stuck. And I don't relate to that. And I don't think you relate to that either. Because if you're always adding, I'm just like,
No.
oh, there's more time actually to add things to the bucket. Like I'm excited about the fact that there's more time. I'm definitely not shy of a list. Like the list is like I sat on the
No.
beach yesterday and you'll laugh.
I
I
will
want to see
laugh.
I
this.
made a list and my
Made a
kids came up.
list.
They were in the water and they came up and I had my book open, but I had an idea, so I had to like get my phone to me. And I made an entire list of all the people I needed to see, how I could be a better friend, what could I be doing, and I broke things into like there's full there's
How I could be a
Oh
better friend. So
gosh.
good.
How can I be a
like
Like,
better
and I
friend?
have deadlines and like there's categories.
oh my
There's
God,
like
good for you.
and
Yeah.
I was like, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it was all about filling my time with all these things of people I want to see,
Yeah.
things I want to do, and how I could combine them.
Yes.
Oh,
And
so
how could
good.
and also in the learning of the things to do. Like, yeah, like it doesn't occur to me that there should be a stoppage to filling the bucket.
Mhm.
But I don't know
No,
if you
yeah.
find in your life, it's interesting. Like, it's because that's the left turn podcast is also overlapping with our left turns in our life, but also at this midlife stage, like it's different than it was a decade ago. It's different probably than it's going to be like in a decade
Mhm.
from now.
For sure.
Yeah. I find
Yeah.
this age so fascinating. We're all within a year or two of each other, I
Yep.
think, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And our kids being the same age and all of that.
Mhm.
I'll go away to a cottage with a bunch of girlfriends who I love dearly, all in different professions. Like we've got people who
Mhm.
work for the government and teachers, and then we've got people who are in like sales and have been pharma
Mhm.
sales for 30 years.
One of them's
And
my
then,
neighbor. Another
oh,
way I
there you
know
go.
you.
So funny. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So, and then people talking about retirement and stuff, and I think
Yeah.
about, whatever's right for you is you do. I couldn't relate to the conversation at all because I have just no runway for the winding down of that.
Mhm.
I'm so excited and so challenged, and it's like I'm like I've never been more like intellectually stimulated in my life. Now, does that mean I want to work and do all the things I did 20 years ago that like today that I did then? No. And 10 years from now, do I want to be putting in the
Sure.
hours that I'm putting in now? Probably not. But I just don't see a world where like dimming my contribution in this way would
Mhm.
be any better for me. And so for me, it's just like maybe it takes different shape, but it's certainly not I can't wait to the day when I can crochet all day or
Yeah.
travel or whatever. And crochet is
Right.
probably, I do like to crochet. That's probably
You
why I
do like
chose
to
that.
crochet. I was like, don't you want to do
I'm a
that?
nerdy old
Maybe not
lady
all day.
already.
That's such
So,
a fantastic sentence, though. Dimming, I just wrote it down and circled it. So,
yeah.
dimming my contribution.
Yeah.
Like, that's a beautiful sentence. Like, I can't imagine dimming my contribution in that way. But interesting, we're probably going to brighten our contribution in other ways. Like, so what
Yeah.
is the contribution going to look like? That's, well, the perfect
Well,
name
and I
behind you on
think
purpose. What's the purposeful living? What's
totally
Yeah.
the intention behind it. And you've always, maybe you can talk a little bit about, I mean, I haven't obviously known you your entire life or your entire career, but a good number of the years. And one
Well,
thing
like
that,
almost 20 years, Tanya.
yeah,
Hey?
so then a really good number of the years, right? It just
Hmm.
times goes so fast. And you
All the
think,
ones I remember.
yeah, me too. That's true. There's too much drama in the previous. But You always were very good at boundaries around that intention. So yes, genuinely curious definitely would be one of, my top descriptors of you. But you were always, if you were, you would lean in and you had a support system to do that, to
Mm,
lean in and do that, both like I think personally, but as well professionally. And maybe you can talk a little bit, because I think that's a fascinating journey that I don't know that everybody knows. Like maybe a bit of your work thing, because then we have the yoga retreat element was kind of for me felt like you inspired a lot of people by doing that. Maybe you can
mm.
add some context to that. And then us kind of leaving at the same time, and then the path you had to go, and kind of what you know
Sure.
now and maybe wish you knew before, or kind of always intuitively knew because that's the way you navigate it to be able to fully do everything.
Hmm. What's interesting is you don't know.
No.
You don't really know in the moment until you look in the rearview mirror and you're like, oh, puzzle piece fit in for this
Yeah.
reason, and doesn't isn't that interesting that it is who I am today and all of that. So none of this road that I've been on was particularly strategic.
Sure.
Other than at like she's paying attention to the inner voice at different points in time
Exactly.
in my life, right? So I am like a word nerd, a communicator. I have an English lit undergrad, which gets zero people a job. So I did a
I
postgrad in
have one
corporate.
too. I also
You
have
do?
one.
Oh
I
my
have an
It's
English
like,
literature. Yes,
have
I
you guys
do.
figured out yet
That's
why
why
I
we
love
love the
you both?
books. We
I'm
love the
like,
books.
we love the books. I
And
know,
I
this
have a
is so
minor in
funny.
communications. That's my degree.
Oh, that's so fun. So then I did a
Yes, from
postgrad
the
in
same
corporate
school your
communication.
kids go to. You got those kids. Mine didn't go to my school.
Oh, is that right?
But
Well,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
because Andrew's somewhere far away,
yeah,
right?
yeah, far away, out east. Anyway,
That's
yeah, so
fascinating.
keep going.
Okay.
But yes, same
Okay.
degree.
So fun. No wonder you love us both, Tanya.
Yes.
I know.
So fun. Okay.
Exactly.
So anyway, so then I go into a career starting in the PR space, but I'm always in the consulting side. I'm always in advertising, marketing, whatever. And I move up the ranks at different agencies and I end up at the same agency as Tanya. Actually, I was Tanya's client
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
before I worked at the agency. And I remember one day at my old client, where I was working, saying to myself, I want to go work at a place that is creative and has fun people and there's a good vibe. And lo and behold, maybe within 6 months, this agency hired me and I met Tanya, and Tanya and I became colleagues, which was super
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah.
So at that agency, like a great place to grow, like on this, like from the outside looking in, it was all the right things. It's like fun and good people and interesting work and opportunity to grow. Like both Tanya and I
Yeah.
left there as, we were
Hmm.
on the leadership team before we decided
Yeah.
to make our own moves and stuff like that. So it had all the right things. But when I was about, so 38, 39, 40, I say I had my first midlife crisis
Hmm.
because I
Or
don't
left
know
her.
if, or left turn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
your
at
first
that point,
lecture.
like my first left turn. And it's funny, I hadn't thought about it that way. I love that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and it was the first time in life where the kids were like 6 and 8 years old. And I had, achieved good things in my career. I'm like, I'm pretty good at what I do. And I love my family. My kids are good. But like, I kind of did all like, between 20 and 40, you get a degree or do whatever schooling you do. You go get into your career, you find your partner, you have your kids, you buy a house. Like, and then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, what do I do now? Do I just like
Yeah.
get old? Do I just watch my children grow and like I'm just gonna do this thing? So it was the first time in my life where I was like, did I just arrive here without any intention? Because the
Hmm.
momentum and the current in
Mm.
life between 20 and 40 is so strong that you
Sure.
just find yourself doing what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I had this moment of pause. I was like, do I? And I remember saying to my husband one day, I was like, what if I don't want this life? And he was so sweet and wonderful and like kind about
Oh,
it. He just goes,
yeah.
you have some responsibilities.
He
you
was. I
know?
remember
Yeah.
us talking about it. He was so good. He handled it so
Yeah.
well.
And
And you're
then
like, do I? No,
do I get
you're
to,
doing
I
such
mean,
a good job.
and then I don't know how you guys feel, but like being the career mom, I did have moments where like a very good friend of mine before she met me, our kids went to school together and they always used to see Brandon at the school and they'd be like, what's that single dad doing? Like so I get ribbed all the time for like
Yeah.
poor Brandon
Which,
was the
how
single dad.
unfair is that? So unfair.
So
Yeah.
unfair.
So
The same
unfair.
way that
God,
if you
that could
see
be a
the
whole
mom
other
in the yoga
podcast.
pants, we think the yoga pant mom doesn't work either. It's
Yeah.
the same.
Oh,
Sure.
Goes 2 ways. because I've
Yeah.
had it the other way. Because
Oh,
you're
totally.
available, they think, yeah. Anyway,
Must be
whatever.
nice. Yeah,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a
So you
whole
had
thing
the
there.
epiphany. And so
So I
what
had
did
that
you do?
epiphany. Well, so that I really did like a maybe 6 months or a year of like deep thinking, reading. I read The Road Less Traveled, which is a really interesting book from the 80s. Scott Peck wrote. And the first line in the book is life is difficult. And the minute you realize that, then it doesn't have like its hold on you anymore. It's like one of the greatest truths in life because you're not resisting it's difficult.
Yeah.
Part of it. But he also said the road less traveled is the one where people choose spiritual growth and development. Like not a lot of people choose to do that. And I was like, oh, well, I want to do that work. I want to grow and I want to develop and all of that. And that led me
This
to
probably turns left. The road less
the
traveled is probably
road
left.
left. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Totally.
So,
Yep.
so what the big central moment of that like whole time was
Mm-hmm.
me recognizing that no, Mary, you don't need to move to Africa to feed starving children in order for your life to have meaning. It happens right here in your house with your kids and your family and the people you affect in your work and the lady at the coffee shop. Like you don't go and trip over meaning and, whatever, you make it. You decide to
Mm-hmm.
make meaning
Yes.
every day in your
Yes.
life. So I just got super intentional about what I was doing. And it felt amazing. Like it felt like, wow, now like I can I I can matter and what I do
Mm-hmm.
can matter. It does, just because I have this very stereotypical suburban life with, I went to college and I got my job and I have,
Mm-hmm.
2.5 kids and a picket fence or whatever, doesn't make my life any less meaningful. So that was a pivotal moment. And then, so now I'm like, what did I do? Yeah. Okay. So we're on this leadership team at this agency, and I
Yes.
pitched to the leadership team. I'm like, hey, we've got 100 people in this business. We have a great group of people. We love them. But why are people so stressed out, apathetic,
Mm-hmm.
mad at clients all the time? Like we kind of had this like edge
Yes.
running through the agency. And I had this insight that said, and it's probably because of all the work I was doing, but um, no amount of like volunteer days or breakfast on Fridays or foosball package or tables in the lobby are going to change any of that unless the person walking in the door in the morning has the right mindset. And I mean, you could call me a bit of a self-help nerd because I read Tony
Yeah.
Robbins when I was a kid,
Yes.
but I learned about something called positive psychology. So I studied it for a year and the agency supported it. And when I came back, I introduced this program we called Thrive. We did these sessions every month. And I was sheepish about it because people look at me and they're like, of course you're happy. That's just who you are. Like it comes to you naturally. Look, you smile all the time, which is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Um, when people ask my husband, what's it like living with somebody so happy all the time? He goes, I'll let you know when I do. Like it's a choice,
It's
and
true.
you work
That's
on these things. Well, and Tanya knows me well enough to
I
know that
know
I
you well enough.
certainly don't have it. But that was a big moment because it was kind of like the moment that the work life and the stories we tell to help our customers buy products and all of that, but merged with the stories we tell ourselves as, individuals, as businesses, as teams. So it's like the psychology of the work I was doing matched with the storytelling work that I was doing. And so it was like the generation one, probably like the little those like the
Seed.
little the little seeds that
Seed.
of what
Yeah.
Yeah.
of what I'm doing now started. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, like 2 years later I went and was it 2 years later that I studied?
It might.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no. You mean when you were
the
for
yoga.
yoga, you became a yoga instructor? I think it was in around that. The yoga instructor might have happened even before
I
you
was 42.
formalized it. Yeah. Oh, when you did the yoga instructing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, in
Yeah.
But
that
it
you
might have led
also
you. That feels like that makes sense. It would have
possibly
led you to yoga and a whole
I
nother
think so.
community.
bunch
And a
you were
whole
doing
other
a bunch
community.
of things for sure.
And then, I mean, the agency we worked at was kind enough to allow me to take some unpaid time off and some vacation to go away for a month to study yoga.
But
and
let's just
become a yoga
speak
teacher.
about what I think a lot I love about that. So that's where like I found myself in a boardroom during one of the Thrive sessions. Like
Hmm.
that to me was inspiring everything you were doing. If there were people there, and I don't think I would have been the only one who just desperately needed it. So sometimes when you have someone who is just providing that in an environment, you're there anyway. I'm sure
Hmm.
you had a lot of impact, but also equally was the impact when you decided to leave for a month. Like talk about if we talk about unfair circumstances in the judgment of you're leaving your children. Do you remember we
Oh my
like
God.
for a month? And
Yes. Oh,
like
I
the
still get
amount,
that.
oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And we're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, but if the man left, would anybody be wondering?
No.
Like
No.
that was
No,
like
there's
good
a
on
whole
you for
story.
doing it. Good on
There's a
you for
whole,
doing it
yeah.
because
It's funny, and it comes from, and you said this earlier,
Mhm.
Tanya, but it comes from like I know having a very, very supportive family network. Like the
Yeah,
kids and Brandon, we're
totally
on the
supported
same
you.
team, and like Brandon's the one who brought it up because he knew how much
Mhm.
I loved yoga, and he gave me for my birthday one year. This is all like in the midlife crisis time.
Mhm.
It was a paper bag, and in the paper bag, it was just a piece of paper that said Mary Inc. And like I had never had like aspirations to run my own company or anything like that. I had a really powerful story in the back saying I'm just a really valuable contributor. I would never want the weight of that on my shoulders. And like that was a powerful
We both
um,
did. I remember that we
voice in
both
my
had to
head.
talk ourselves out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when he said that, he's like, there's something here. And he's like, I looked into because he knows where I practice yoga. He's like, the teacher training, they do them in the whatever month of the year, da da da. And then I looked it up. I'm like, dude, it's 30 days long. And the kids were 8 and 10, no, 10 and 12.
Hmm.
Um, and he's like, it's just like a few weeks. And this is like super first world thing. He's like, it's only like 2 Maria days. And Maria's our cleaning lady. She comes every other week. So it's just like two Maria days.
That's
So
amazing.
he was like
He was great.
he was like the energy behind because then like all of a sudden like I'm like oh so it's not crazy because you're putting it out there like I should do this. So
That's huge though, Mary. That's having an
Huge.
ally to encourage you in that way is huge.
Yeah.
huge, absolutely massive. Oh, and always has been the case, which is
Always. Since I've
And
known you, always
encourage
he's
you
your
to be the
cheerleader.
best person you can be.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
amazing.
I'm
And what a
very,
mentor
very
for in your
grateful.
family. Yeah, like all like as a team, you sound like a
Hmm.
strong team.
Hmm.
We're a very strong team. Even more like, and so then those things happen and you do
Hmm.
it. And the kids were wonderful and Brandon was wonderful. I was homesick. I had to fight being so homesick every day and be like, don't ruin this experience for yourself because you're homesick. Like everybody made this possible.
Yeah.
So don't go because I was so heartsick. I learned that the teacher training ended like 24 hours before the stated date. And so my flight home was on whatever day, March 31st or something like that. And I learned that you don't really need to stay for the last day. I think I spent like $700 on an like to change my ticket so I could get
To go
home a
home
matter of
early.
like 16 hours earlier. Like I
Yeah.
was so beside myself with
Yeah.
missing them. But I also was like be focused. Like I booked my own space because a lot of people go away to those places and they're dealing with stuff and I was like, well, I don't want it. I don't have capacity. I don't want this kind of once in a lifetime moment to
Be taken up by someone else's energy to a degree.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
Good
it,
for
it
you.
ended up being a bit more lonely for that reason. So I'm not sure if it was the best idea, but that was
Hmm.
the idea at the time is that I wanted it to really be the thing. It was pretty and it was spectacular. Like being a yoga teacher fills my bucket and the bucket. It's
Hmm.
in the bucket as well as all this other stuff. And I do it only one day a week in the morning, but I have this one class I teach and it's a gift and I'm just happy to have that 1 hour to do that thing that I
Love
love.
that.
But yeah.
Love that.
So yeah.
But I wonder too, if you think about that, everyone talks about midlife, but I do think it starts earlier. I think we needed to reframe. It's not a midlife crisis. It's like an awakening of
No.
some sort of thing, right? If you
Yeah.
It
allow
definitely is
yourself,
an awakening.
yeah, if you allow yourself to actually get your head up out of, I loved how you used the word momentum and the flow, the current has pushed you
Yeah.
along. And
Hmm.
that has happened for sure for many people. It
Yeah.
might happen later, like with our kids' generation, it might happen a bit later if they start their life a little later. Like I feel like
Hmm.
that's shifting. But so many of our choices just like we may be like that term easygoing drives me a little bananas because it's like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to go with the current.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
you still have control within there.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go with the current, and
Mm-hmm.
there's power in going with it and allowing yourself to flow, but you
Mm-hmm.
also have some direction over like which current you want to be in. And I
Yeah.
feel if you're not paying attention in that 40, then 50 is harder.
It's way,
You
I
paid
do believe
attention
that.
at 40 and paid attention to something you made. And it doesn't mean you have to like abort your entire life. You don't have to go
No,
away for a month and train to be something. It's just like a
no,
check-in of, was this where I wanted to be? If it's not, what adjustments am I making?
totally.
And it's not just about, oh, I don't look the way I wanted to look. Like everybody seems to go through a health journey
Mm-hmm.
at some
Mm-hmm.
point,
Yeah, of course.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be just, oh, I'm losing 25 pounds. Like
Yeah.
that's just like the little tiny layer. Like,
I
who are
know.
you? What are you doing? How are you spending your time? How are you spending where's your thinking time going? What am
Mhm.
I, who am I around? Who do I want to be around?
Well,
Like
and I
we
think
were,
that's a big one. I think like if you think of, let's say, those two left, like, pivots, left turns, pauses, whatever, your trajectory now to be like, this is the next phase of who I want to become and what do I need to do. There's a there's a commonality there. And I think it's really, so for me, when I have you here, I know I made a lot of my decisions. I've talked about that. You need to have people in your corner. Like so
Mhm.
you in having your husband and your kids, and that is just a tenet of your family unit. And obviously from birth, that's the way it is. And that's beautiful, which allows you to continue to do that. It's important for people to know that, because and
Mm.
if you don't necessarily have it in your family, because I did not, I had a version of that, but I had a lot of obstacles as well. You can find that in other people, your work wife, which would be like my bestie at my like person,
Yeah.
and or like maybe it's not your family, because we've shared that too. Like, I mean, you have wonderful, family as well, and your sisters are so,
Hmm.
well achieved, etc. Like you are surrounded by that. Some people don't have that. You can find that. But I do think it's important. Like, I
Hmm.
don't want to underestimate that if you don't have it, look for it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it, like Amory and I, is like, join groups, like find people. Like I tend to Velcro. It's not odd that the two of you are very similar. Like I have learned
Maybe we're Betty and
subconsciously,
Veronica.
maybe. Who am
maybe.
I? I'm just Jughead. I'm Jughead. And I'm just like coming around. But I
Well,
totally could be Jughead too.
that's funny.
But literally, I think there is something very true that everyone
You
needs
have
to
to be old enough
hear.
to get that
Yeah, you
reference,
do.
even.
But
It's
if
true.
they're all
But probably
50,
your
they should get
listeners
it.
are,
They would get it. They
For
would.
us, they
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But you need to be intentional in creating that. And it's
Yeah.
possible. And you can't, it's you could, but it's very hard to do it on your own, I guess is my point. And your stories indicate that, right? Like you are advanced compared to others, and you have self-doubt. Like, so imagine the average
Shit,
person,
I have a
right?
lot of self-doubt.
Right, that's my point though. So, and you
Mhm.
are disciplined to pull yourself out. So imagine the average person. So the point is,
Mhm.
if you are and you do
Mhm.
have that, find the people. They are everywhere, Anyway, I just
Yeah,
wanted
it's
to.
also like I think this it's absolutely that Brandon and I built a life where, and like I am so grateful. Like when I was 40 and like maybe I don't want this life. I didn't even appreciate just how amazing and how much depth and steadiness he had for me and all these things, right? Like so even now I'm like I look back and it's almost like breathtaking to think of all of that support for always, and never there's no ego ever involved. It's just like, so I'm just like, you know, and you choose it every day with the people that you have around you, and that those people choose to invest in you. Like um it's not something that just happens. It's not just like, oh,
Yeah.
I have the gift of people in my life. Yes, I do.
Yes.
And I invest in those people and I support those people.
We've
And
talked about that.
and
Yes.
you can create that. There's so much, in the world of positive psychology. I asked this question to, groups of CEOs, friends, the agency we worked at. So I've asked this question to like hundreds of people over the last decade or so, maybe 1,000. How much of your happiness, your general sense of well-being is dictated by your circumstances? And percentage wise, you guys can guess, but Tanya's already heard this before, but she
Yes, I
doesn't
have.
remember numbers.
No, I don't
So
remember numbers, but this was
How much percentage of your happiness is indicative to your circumstances?
yeah,
I'm going to say it's low because you have control over your mind, not necessarily your circumstances. Is that correct?
that is true. So when I ask
Okay.
this question, whether I'm talking to a group of CEOs or I'm talking to a group of factory workers or people at an advertising agency, they the large majority of people say somewhere above 75%. That set more than 75% of my general sense of well-being is dictated by the circumstances I find myself in. So how much power do we give to the situation versus the response to the situation? So the research breaks it out like this. 50% of your general sense of well-being has to do with your genetics. You're either you've won the lottery or you haven't. If you're like a Eeyore or Tigger, I don't know.
yeah.
10% is based on your circumstances, like food, shelter, clothing. But once
Yeah.
people have food, shelter, clothing taken care of, their level of happiness is very uh, the delta between somebody who makes 1 million and somebody who's just taking care of food, shelter, clothing is like negligent. So 40% of your general sense of well-being is within your control. And so I feel like that's one of the most fundamental lessons in life. Because once
Yeah.
you realize that, like Anais Nin, the author, has this famous quote that is, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. And when you realize that, like today, and we're in midlife, and I was thinking about this call today because I was like, oh, this is like day 23, and I'm in a bad mood, and everything's sad, and nothing's working, and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I should just reschedule. I'm like, no, Mary, you can't like pull up your socks. You can do this. Um, but I do recognize I can pause and say, okay, this day, this whatever the hormones are, whatever it is, I know that I'm looking at the day through that filter. And it's not like next week will be a different, it'll be a different filter, as opposed to condemning everybody in my life is stupid and all the conditions in my life are terrible. No, it's just me in this moment having a bad day. I feel like
Yeah.
that's so powerful
It
to
is
know that,
powerful. Yep.
Like
you
saying
know?
life is difficult. It's just going to
Yeah.
be.
Just is.
But it's
Yeah.
10%. So 10% are based on your circumstances, but people guess it's 70 to 75%. So that's the work. Is
That's
they're
the work.
missing the
Well, they're
entire
missing
point.
that exactly that you can actually make change,
And you
right? It's
guys are
easy
on
to
But
a
it's only
blame. It's easy to
10%.
blame everyone else. I'm not happy because my kids, my work, my la 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 la. Like that's 75%.
and
Actually, no.
it's not really anyone's fault because if you've
Exactly.
grown up in Western culture, you've learned that the extrinsic things in your life are all
Yeah.
the things that are important. We've learned that it's the grades on
Yeah.
the test, it's the friends in school. Are you the best at whatever sport you're in?
Yeah.
Are you making enough money? Is your spouse rich enough or handsome
Yeah.
enough or whatever? Like all of those things, like our lens is out there. And so then we're like looking, and then we compare ourselves to others. Like it just
Yes.
sort of
Yes.
amplified with social media and stuff like that. So it's no
Yeah.
one's fault that they're there.
Yeah.
The work is to realize, and we all know people. Oh my gosh, Tanya, I just wrote like, how I write I write a weekly email,
Yes, you do.
and I love it's like my favorite thing to do. And I was just playing around with one that starts with, I once worked with a guy who won the lottery.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. I remember that guy.
Oh, he's such a nice guy, but
He
he
was
just
such a
had the
nice
weight of the
guy.
world on his shoulders. And
He
so,
was
like,
never
all of us,
happy.
when he won the lottery, like, it got out on Monday because he won it over the weekend or whatever. It got out, like, before he arrived at work. And we're like, we think this guy, like, $1 million.
Yeah.
And this was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were like, he's going to be skipping into work. And so, I mean, I know that you can't, like, quit forever on $1 million, but it has a material
It's life
change in your life,
changing.
right?
It's
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
changing. Yes.
So he comes in, the very same guy he was the day before, the week before, weight of the world on his shoulders. He's like, you don't realize how much money you have to spend on the lottery to win the lottery. And then all these other people are coming out of the woodwork to ask me for
Yes.
money now. And
Yeah.
he's just like, huh. And
Yeah.
so, like,
That would
we
be
all
a
know
good one.
people. We all
We
know
all know
people who
people.
see the
Doesn't
world.
matter. And that is,
Yeah. Yeah.
to change that, like to shift into the knowing now. Now I have the knowing of that,
Hmm.
right? So then you move through and you said it earlier, there's some people who just never get to that next point of
Which is probably that 50% because of genetics. I bet you there's a
a
piece of that,
hundred
right?
percent.
Those people can't get there.
That'd
No.
be rough. Or they've worked really hard because it's so
To
bad.
work through it. Yeah.
They've
So
they've
yeah.
developed the tools to
Well,
address it.
it's not surprising, present let people excluded. I don't want to make a statement and then it's assumed, but in the self-help world of individuals, most of these people have had immense traumatic events early on in their lives, right?
Hmm.
Not all of them, a lot of them, when you hear their stories. And I think that,
Hmm.
right, whether you have the 50% or not, that is a thing that allows for immense growth that is kind of forced. Like you either
Hmm.
kind of go down to a path of, drugs and whatever, like, or those people who are now have lifted themselves up. They have started at a very, very, in a lot of cases, early age out of necessity to
So,
survive.
can I tell you a story?
Yeah, please.
Okay, my brother-in-law,
Hmm.
he's a couple years older than Meredith. So let's say he's like 55 or 56. He has
Hmm.
been, and I don't think he would not mind me telling this story at all,
Hmm.
but he has been an alcoholic since he was a teenager.
Hmm.
And obviously I met him when I was 23. So I've known
Right.
him for 25 years, 28 years. Um, and different times he'd been to rehab and, and then made decisions in his life. Like he moved from the family home in Woodstock up to a cottage. It's like 4 hours away from where his family was. So he and his wife split up and then he's isolated up in the cottage. And then right before COVID, he goes through like significant health challenges related to the drinking, where the doctor says you have to stop drinking or you'll die.
Hmm.
And weirdly, COVID was a gift because that moment, I mean,
Right.
everybody stopped doing things, but also AA meetings around the world were on Zoom. He could literally dial into an AA meeting at all hours of the day. So he went all in, and he'd already done recovery journeys before and unsuccessfully,
Sure.
and
Which is not
um,
uncommon. Yeah.
not uncommon.
Hmm.
But now, however many years sober now, is he 5 or 6 years sober?
Amazing.
He's super invested in the community. He is a sponsor to many people. But one thing that occurred to me recently is he is so intentional about life. Like he
No.
has this gift because of all like most of his life in struggle, that now he has this gift of awareness and intention and appreciating the smallest of things and interactions with people that you just breeze by in a day. He's like soaking it all in. So like in a way, and I haven't actually talked to him about this specifically, but in a way, he's arrived at a different level of self-actualization than many people do because we don't
Yes.
do it from a place of comfort. It's like
It's
things are
true.
good. I did my job today. I'm gonna go watch Netflix tonight and do the same
There's
thing
no
tomorrow,
reason. There's no
Yeah.
reason to shift if you're
Yeah.
comfortable. Comfortable is I'm sure there's a saying around comfort, but I mean somewhere one of
How
you would know it. But I mean, I think I shared it probably with both of you is like again in books I also read books, not to the same
Yes,
degree,
you
but I
do.
do, and I listen to books.
Me
I don't
too.
read them.
Same.
I listen. But there were two substantial, and I've talked about this, where these individuals are die on their deathbeds from cancer, etc. And they arrive at this actualization like they've been depressed their entire life, and as soon as they're diagnosed with cancer and given three like terminal cancer
Yeah.
specifically, all of that goes away
Yeah.
because they immediately realize how precious so how can we as humans without the trauma of that get to a point where right in front of us is all that matters and like
Yeah.
take that in now, which happens in a lot of cases because you're
Yeah.
you're forced there. And that for me is in the back of my mind and has been for the last, in particular, the last 5 years. It's
Hmm.
like, and I have to, we all have to remind ourselves, don't like fly through today. Like
Yeah.
enjoy today, be here. So I just
Like
think that,
even like to your point, like the air you're breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
the surroundings of your environment, a beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
Like all it takes is that attention and
Hmm.
focus and appreciation for it, right? Like
Absolutely.
it's so easy and so difficult.
So
Yeah.
you, if we like now look at on purpose, like I'm gonna now fast
Yeah.
forward and so that's happening. You're supporting me too in this because I kind of follow a similar trajectory in
Hmm.
doing different. I didn't go to a yoga retreat, but I live vicariously through you. But
You
when
did
we,
a, yeah,
I did
different things.
different things, different things.
Yeah.
Then we at the same time leave the agency we're at to start on our journey. And so talk a little bit about that and on purpose and how the positive psychology, because you
Hmm.
mentioned earlier you're trying to refine to what we do, which I believe gets back to that in some degree, right?
Hmm.
With organizations, et cetera. So maybe talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So when I decided to leave the agency, I made the big, massive, bold move of quitting and then going to work with someone because I was too afraid to do something on my own. But I was like, I'm telling
I
myself, oh no,
remember
we're
that.
partnering in this.
Yes.
And it was like one of my first bosses ever, wonderful human being. And we worked together for a couple of years. But then I was just like, this is basically a smaller version of what I was just doing. I'm still someone's
Hmm.
employee. Someone else is deciding ultimately my financial future, who we work with, what type of work we do, stuff like that. I just was getting super itchy about it. I was really
Hmm.
uncomfortable. Um, and then COVID hit, and my husband had been in the restaurant industry for most of his career on the corporate side, so franchised at restaurants,
Hmm.
so operations, marketing, franchise sales, and then marketing again at a different company. And he wanted to like consult, like leave corporate life, go become a consultant and consult the restaurant industry. And I dug my heels in a little bit because I was like, I don't know if we should have two consultants in the house. Like it feels really
Right.
comfortable. We've got like, the benefits and the whatever. But then I was like, also, it's not my job to be the dream crusher. So we decided to go down that path. And his last day of a paycheck was February 28th, 2020,
2020.
Yes.
which
2 weeks
is 2 weeks
before
before the
COVID.
entire industry
Poor
imploded. And in
guy.
Canada
Yeah.
for a really long time, right? So what was weird about that was all of a sudden, like even he had negotiated that he would consult to the company he was working for. So he had like kind of pay coming in for a period of time. So that's good. But
Yeah.
then that fell through. And
Yeah.
so at a time when most people would have said, and I don't know where this came from for me, but a lot of people would have been like, well, thank God I have a paycheck. Let's keep that going. But I decided, like, there were a couple of months of like, this doesn't feel right, whatever. But by August 30th, 2020, I had started on purpose.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, fuck it. No one's going to tell me what I make, who I work with, whatever. I am going to take
Hmm.
charge of my future. If I'm going to place a bet, I'm going to place it on myself. And people were like, you're so brave. I didn't feel like bravery at all. It just felt like
This was
it's
the thing.
I have
to
to do this.
time to
Yes.
go do the
Yeah.
thing. And
Yes.
if I hadn't had all of those challenges, it would have been too comfortable, and I don't
Yep.
think I would have done it. So I'm super grateful. And
Yeah.
then things that I would have shied away from and let someone else do, like, oh, can you call that person? I wouldn't call that person. Like,
Yeah.
I just put my chin out there, like,
Good for you.
because there was no plan B. It was like this has to work.
This has
So,
to work.
but I can tell you, like, this is the coolest part. And thanks for asking me to talk about it,
Yeah.
Tanya. Like, so growing up in communications, PR, integrated marketing, digital marketing, strategy was my job before I left the
Hmm.
agencies. And having this interest in positive psychology, understanding narrative psychology, which is like our entire experience is the story we tell ourselves. So these little islands of experiences and I guess perspectives that I had come together into this company I started with. And I don't even realize like the insight of the name of it. It just came, I was like, I want to do this because I want people to be intentional and companies need to be intentional.
Yeah.
But I, I'm closer to it today than I was 5 years ago or
Of
6 years
course.
ago. And so the work that we do today is to really help businesses and the leaders inside those businesses connect and believe in what they do first, and then shape the story around that belief, what they tell themselves, what they tell their teams, what they tell their industry. So it is identity work, but it's deep identity work. It's truly from the inside out. And I'll work with teams. Like I'm working with someone in Oregon who owns a bunch of adult care homes. And I worked with him a couple of years ago on his story, which was just to understand, like, who are you and how are you as a leader to this business that you started 10 years ago that's now like, I don't know, $12 million business. Mm. And then he comes back to, we were going to work on the work with the team, and he was really frustrated, and he's like, not the right team. I don't want to invest in them. And then, so the work stopped for a period of time. So we reconnect a few months ago, and he's like, we went through some really tough times. We went into the red. We're coming out of it now, but I need to fall in love with my business again. Yeah. And so we're doing these sessions that it's amazing for someone to, first of all, to understand that and connect with that they need that energy again.
Yeah.
But one thing that was interesting is I work with people around their beliefs and organizing what drives them. So he started this company in the human care space, but he's driven to be better every day. Like he's like, whatever I'm doing, and he's like where we are is never good enough. So he's driven by mastery, right?
Wow.
He's in an industry that people are caring for people. They're about contribution and belonging, and who cares about the checklist? I don't care if we got a 99 out of 100 on whatever, audit assessment. I'm just taking care of people here. So he's driven by mastery. His industry is driven by contribution. No one's having the conversation. And if he really wants to get his company to the next level, he's got to think about, how do I translate mastery to these people who are contribution minded? Well, you have to help them appreciate that the best way to care for people is by being the best at what we do. And so that's why we're doing these things this way. So they can come together and believe the same thing so that they can achieve what they want to achieve. And so it's interesting, it's meaning. Yeah. And it's story together, because stories make meaning shareable.
Yes.
So I know, I just love
it. Mary, like I could sit
I just told you. I told you.
50% of people are going to be, my mind's blown. I don't understand what you're saying. And other 50 people are like, give me another helping. Give me another helping. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like
I can nerd out on this stuff.
I think don't want to go in there, and that's what's scary for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like what we're talking about is very, very, like the whole conversation we've had is I wish I had the actual data, but I'm going to guess 75% of people don't want to grow like that. They don't want to change or evaluate what they're very happy with what's in front of them. And they would also say, well, I am grateful, and I am noticing the air that I breathe, and this is great. 25%, or maybe it's 5%, I don't know, actually want to also appreciate but strive in that growth. And that's what's really fascinating. It's not, and it's both sides are perfectly great. You can't, 100%. Both sides can't judge what the other ones are doing.
No. I have one of my dearest friends is the complete opposite of me. She's an engineer. She would have been the person who started planning retirement when she was 12. They have very her favorite thing to do is budget. Like all of these things, I'm like, well, who are you? And she's very much looking forward to retirement. She's like, no, I will totally. She's volunteers to take care of babies, and like she does all kinds of things. So it's certainly not a on switch.
She's not just sitting. Sort of
yeah. And she hasn't retirement. Not at all. But she's very happy and content. She's like, I've never really loved my work. I'm good at it, and I get fulfillment out of it. But I'm very, very much looking forward to the life of leisure and doing what I want to do. So, and that's just two different people driven by different things.
Totally.
But I think what's important, before we sign off on all of this conversation, because human beings are wired for two things. They're wired to connect, and they're wired to contribute. We don't survive without those two things. Like back in the days where they banish somebody into the woods to die, because they did something wrong against the community, they would eventually die. Contribution is about survival. It's about, we have to survive the conditions we're in. We have to, outsmart the lions and the tigers and the whatevers.
Sure.
So we are wired to want to do something that matters. And I believe that in our, current culture, we've kind of demonized work. We've said work
Yes.
is a thing I do so that I can live. I work so that I can get paid time off. I work so that I might retire one day. But truly, people want to feel like that what they did matters at the end of the day. And it can be the smallest thing. Like there's a book I've started reading, which I do that too. I read like the first 3 chapters and I'm like, oh, I totally get the concept. And then I move to my next book. I don't know if you do that. Okay.
Yeah, your DNF.
I
Do
didn't know
not
that's
finish
what you
list.
could do. Maybe I
Yeah, you
would
don't
read
have to
more of
finish
it.
the book. It's
I feel
called do not
like I
finish.
have to in case someone asks me
DNF.
a
How long's
question.
your DNF list? But I'll tell
Oh,
you
that's pretty long.
also, some people cannot have an unfinished book, so they won't start it,
Yeah.
or they
Okay.
just can't finish it, not finish it,
Interesting.
right? I
God, I
cannot
just
finish
learned
them, but
something.
again, so
I
okay,
cannot finish
so
them. This
yeah,
book is
what
called
else?
Path to Purpose. I can't remember the author, but his focus is, and I was super interested in it because it's about purpose in adolescence and getting, teens to connect to purpose.
Mm.
And there's a story in it about a kid who's working at a burger joint and not, pretty disconnected from what he's doing until one day he realized that when he could make people smile, it felt good. So that's purpose. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I need to like split the atom or cure cancer or
Yeah.
feed starving children, although those are all good things to do. But you can find purpose like just lifting up someone's day, believing in
Yes.
someone. And then you start to think about the positive impact you can have, like even on, because I'm bad at this, even on the like, in traffic, letting someone go ahead of you, stuff
Yes.
like that. Like those little gestures do more for you as a human and to feel good than they
Yes.
do for the people that you do them for oftentimes. So there
So
is a way to feel like you're making a contribution without it needing to be the big, striving for something as well.
So,
Yeah.
what is your thought, Mary? Because here's something I hear from a lot of my friends. This seems to be the conversation, and I do not have this figured out. But I've gotten some feedback lately that maybe some people think I have this figured out, and I don't. I do not at all. But I think it's the filling of the bucket. I'm not afraid to fill my bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are worried to become overloaded, or they need more time for whatever. Like, I'm not afraid. So I feel that there are a great number of friends in my world who are feeling that they are not sure how to find that purpose in this age in their life.
Mm.
And I mean, just by using that example of when I made someone smile, that's the big question is
Wow.
how do people, like, they don't all want to be like, I'm going to tell them to go read a book or play
Mm-hmm.
pickleball
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
go for a walk, because those are
Yeah.
some of the things I do, because I find little moments and good things in doing those. But that's also the midlife recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just go to yoga, go join the community at the yoga
Uh,
center,
Mm-hmm.
go play pickleball. Like,
mm-hmm.
how does someone start to make that list of things that would make them happy slash purposeful? And
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
and
tough
you have
one.
two kids in university, people leave too. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many parents have put so much of their life connected to the purpose of those children, and those children are leaving and having their own life, which was
Mm-hmm.
the assignment. That
Yeah.
was the assignment. And
It
I
is, it
see,
is not always easy. Like, so if I can just say
no,
something, because I come from a person that doesn't create like those lists necessarily. And my biggest challenge was like, I don't think I'm a very interesting person. Like, I don't really have anything. Like, I don't have hobbies. Like, I'm really like not like, I just like to be around people. Like, I don't really have a curated anything. And there was the coaching I did, which
Mm.
actually, it's funny, I just realized, Mary, it was the same. You put me on to this coach.
Oh, yeah.
But the way she helped me figure that out, because I could not articulate what I could do for myself. I couldn't,
Mm.
because I felt like she said, you follow the energy. She goes, so she taught me to learn when you're sitting with someone, like if you're having a beautiful meal with someone, how do you feel? I was like, I feel great. Like the world goes away, I'm calm. And then if do it, like she gave a very tactical, like, so if you want to play a certain sport or whatever, when you do this, how do you feel? Like playing card games? I get anxious, right?
Mm.
So she's like, you follow your energy. So just do more of the things that make you feel like the best thing it is. And then when you start to feel, and not to say that you're not going to do that, because like you can play card games, but it helps you narrow down what you need to
Mm-hmm.
do more to fill that bucket
I
if you
think it's
can't
super
articulate it.
wise.
You
Yeah,
just
like
feel it.
Well, and then think about, back, so connecting what Anne-Marie said about
Hmm.
the assignment for
Yeah.
however many years was to launch these children into the world.
Yeah.
And for many women, and unfortunately, it is a gender thing. For many women, focusing externally to help others, be in support of others, is the reward. It's like,
Yes.
so then those people move on and have their own independent life. Good job. That's what they're meant to do. And then
Hmm.
you're left with this massive void. I have like so many interests, and I feel so excited about the future. And the day Simon left for university, I couldn't speak.
Hmm.
Like I texted him. I was like, and this is my oldest. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm really
It's
excited for
overwhelming.
you.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I couldn't. And I was like, if you perceive that I'm sad and I'm crying, I'm fine. It's all good. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. But I couldn't speak. The
Yeah.
grief of it is
Mhm.
unlike
Yes.
anything. The lot, like knowing that that pocket of time, that
Hmm.
18 years is over, you never get it back. Even though you're like immensely proud of these people for moving out into the world,
100%.
it's gut wrenching. So, a
Yeah.
friend of mine who's a nurse
Hmm.
in Seattle, so she's working in a job that's very like, well, it's a union
That
and
would
all
be
of that,
intense.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a labor and delivery nurse. She
Mm.
says to me this one day that she is feeling like management is paying much more attention to the younger crop of nurses coming in,
Mm.
and she's starting to feel irrelevant. And I get that. Like there's
Yeah.
that, and then yeah, like there's this whole kind of mind fuck of being this age, and what is your role now and things like that. But the thing that stood out for me is I'm like, Stacy, you have never had this much experience, this much wisdom, this much personal power than you have today. And so, like, that is something to get really
Yeah.
excited about. You have the
It's true.
confidence. You've lived through all the previous versions of yourself. You have more to contribute today than ever before. So this isn't a like, go softly into the night. This is
Yeah.
like a how do you channel that and give it to people. Like, and
Totally.
it doesn't have to be in the job. It could be, her kids are younger than our kids, so it could be in the softball team. It could be, but
Yep.
don't let the incredibly strong current of the way people look at life and middle age and all those things. Don't let that convince you have less to give. Now you have more to give than
Yes.
ever before, and now it's just the fun job, Tanya, like you said, of
Of.
noticing what things make me feel good, what
Hmm.
what things bring me
Yep.
joy. And invariably it's going to be something that you do for somebody, some
Yes.
problem you solve,
100%.
like Tanya, being around you is so fun. Like you
Aw.
make everybody
Thanks.
feel so good. Like that is such a gift.
Thank you. I appreciate
So
that.
I just get so fired up about that. This is a whole other podcast. Like this whole age
I
of
know.
It's not
change
over.
and
It's about what that's the other thing about left turn. It's not, it's what's left. And
Yeah.
when we first started to talk about living left, meaning
Left.
what's left, and actually interesting, we talked about it, was kind of workshopped it with our team who are a little
Hmm.
younger, and they thought it sounded morbid. And we're like, it's not morbid. It's
Yeah.
about what's left. Like,
Left. Like there
let's
is that
go.
excitement
Like,
about
what's
exactly.
left? Like,
yeah,
okay.
Like
Like,
yeah,
I
everything you
want to
just
live
said is why
more.
we're doing this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to live a little differently, a little more for me.
hmm
That doesn't mean you're not serving people. I think serving people is actually a huge part of life, and that
hmm
everyone is a servant to others. Like, and
yeah,
we actually all should be doing more of that, not less of that, but maybe less to the same, you know, core little group of our family. Like
yeah,
maybe
Well,
it's
exactly.
broader.
Expanding that. That's
It's
why, like,
broader.
it is broader. And I
hmm
Yeah.
think we get even more joy out of that, right? When you kind of see it. Gosh, so we could just keep going. Like we could, but we can't.
Oh, we could. No one will listen to the end, and all the
all
nuggets
day.
are
That's okay.
coming
We
up
could do it.
now. All the nuggets are at the
Um,
end.
But I loved all of this. And I mean, it's just nice to, I've watched and I've been alongside you, maybe less so in these years because we've been more separate than we were for a while, but
hmm
we do connect regularly and, watching everything you're doing. And I'm just glad we had an opportunity for you to share that. I think even for Anne Marie, because I tried to
It's so
describe what
fun.
it's like to be around you, but
I
like now
know.
I
Well,
think
I
she,
know, but I don't.
no, but you
I
haven't had an hour to really dig in this way, maybe.
no.
Have you?
Yes.
No.
Well, in little other ways, but I also feel
Yes.
like I'm going to probably text you after and be like, Mary, why don't we see you more often? Because
We
there's
should-
way too
Yes.
many interconnections.
I know,
Yes.
because I was thinking I'd just say, hey, Emery, you want to be friends?
Yes.
Yes. And I have 1,000 things to do with you.
I know. That would be good.
Like, you want to play Mahjong?
Yes, I know. You could join our Mahjong
yes.
group.
Oh my
7,000
gosh, that's
things.
right. Because that's right. There's a whole,
'Cause there's
There's a
friends.
whole
community.
bunch of overlap. There's
I
a
love
lot
it.
of overlap.
A lot of
I love it.
overlap.
Anyway,
Well, thank you so much. Just one quote that's not mine. Dan Sullivan says it, and he's 80 years old. He runs this company called Strategic Coach, and he is still still very invested, engaged in all of it. And kicking is not the right word. But he says you're only old if your future is smaller than your past.
Oh, what?
And when you think about
Say
bigger
it again.
future,
Say it again for
you're only
everyone.
old when your future is smaller than your past.
right. And so when you think about the horizon, you guys talking about what's left, that there's just so much richness left. And so like you look at this horizon of what's possible in your life. And yeah, maybe you don't have another 50 years left. But maybe you do. If we look at it like I'm going to die when I'm 80, so I better start winding it down when I'm 70, so then I better stop. What?
It's like,
pretend you're going to live to 124, and then all of a sudden that arc changes.
Yes. Oh,
and the arc changes if you think of it as your scalable legacy. Like, it's not about how many years you're breathing.
Yeah.
It's about the legacy of what you have left behind and why and what.
Oh, I love that.
And like I have had a few little moments in the last weekend when we were pulling at old pictures and we were looking at things, and my son, who everyone calls Bert because our last name, and my great grandfather's name was Bert, actually Bert Eby. Anyway, so we're holding up these pictures, and Andrew's holding them and laughing, and he's like, he was born in the 1889, and we were chatting about, we were talking about, and like that chair over there was his, and just elements of his life. Like you were not even an idea. Like, your legacy goes for a long time.
It does.
It should.
The impact.
Perfect world. The impact of your ideas and your intent, what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So what's left is like, if you haven't figured out what that is or curated that legacy, start to think about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be perfection.
Well, it's in the moments. It's in the moments.
No, and you know what?
Ongoing. It's ongoing.
So much more. It's just so much more than the next 30 years of life we're calling life. Like, it's
so much more. And think of this too. This podcast is never going to end.
I love this. No,
it just made me think about, I wrote this weekly thing about my son one day anyway, that part's not, but it was about him growing up and the impact it could have on him. But have you ever had somebody in your life that said something to you that just sort of stopped you in your tracks and you thought about it forever? This guy named Gavin Parr in grade 11, I flunked chemistry. I flunked 3 classes that semester because I didn't go to class. I was a complete whatever. And he's like, Mary, what are you doing? You are way smarter than this. I have never forgotten that Gavin Parr said that to me. I haven't spoken to him since. Like, we're not friends or anything like that. But that like hits me right in the chest, right? So think about, and then other people that believed in you before you believed in yourself, or someone who gave you like encouragement, and they have no idea that lifted you up so much. So like, we all have the potential to have that impact on people in every interaction. It could be to your neighbor, and you will never know how that affected other people long term. But it's so true. I mean, I love that idea. Like the scaling of your legacy, like leave the world better than you got when you got here.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's this list. That was this part of the list. Was like, what am I doing to, anyway, it's another podcast, but
I love that list. I'd like to be on that one too.
Danny's like, we gotta be on that list.
That's the stuff I sit on the mountain on when I am covered up in sunscreen, even though I look like I have the suntan. I am thinking and watching, and I'm sitting on the beach and I'm watching all those little kids where I spent the same 20 years chasing all those little people. And I'm watching all of them, and I'm watching how the grandparents interact. And I'm actually thinking, well, what kind of grandparent am I going to be on this beach? And I'm thinking about, what do I want to do? And what am I going to do in
Talk about leaving a legacy
before I am a grandparent? Like, I'm thinking about all those. I'm observing all the people thinking, shit, she can get on that paddleboard really easily. I can't. Like, why not? Or whatever.
I think
there's so much life left.
So much life left.
So much
what's left.
So
okay.
we got to go.
This was
We
amazing.
gotta
Okay, so I'm
We
going
really
to
should
sign
just be
off.
meeting up in 5 minutes for a drink and just talk about
Yes,
this
I
for
know. So I'm going to sign off
I
on this
know.
podcast,
I love
Mary.
it.
Thank you for
Okay.
being
Thank you so
here.
much. This was energizing in an incredible way.
So good. Feels so
good,
good.
even on day 23.
Even on day 23.
See,
Best meeting of the week.
best meeting of the week.